Hello students, I welcome you all for the today's session on Origins of Language, a journey through time. So I am Ms. Vaishnavi, Assistant Professor of English in Theivanai Ammal College for Women. So today we are going to talk about the origins of language. As we all know, language is an important Hello students, welcome to today's session on Origins of Language, a journey through time. I am Ms. Vaishnavi, Assistant Professor of English in Theivanai Ammal College for Women. So today's session we're going to talk about the origins of language. So language is something that is very interesting that we'll never get bored of when we discuss about it. So there might be different versions of how language originated or where it originally originated and everything. So today we're going to talk about the origins of language, how and where it started and everything. So the first one is that the divine source theory. So certain people, certain group of peoples and certain people, they believe that the language, it really originated from the gods, the divine source. So they believe, the staunch believers of some certain religions, those kind of people would be there. So they believe that the language originated from the divine power. First one is that supernatural origin. So they believe many ancient texts suggest that language was a divine creation. For example, if we take Hinduism, they believe that the Saraswati was the goddess of education and everything. And so every other religions, they would have their own god or goddesses for this language, education and so. Next one is the sacred text. If we take any particular religion, you'll obviously have a sacred text that everyone will have a faith in it and everything. So the religious stories describe a language given by the gods. Whatever they believe that this thing is actually given by the gods. We would not know, it is not some rocket science or something, it is not proven, it is not an empirical fact, but they believe it originated from gods. And the second and the third one is that universal belief. So this theory is widespread across different and various cultures. Many, and not only in particularly in India or other countries, but all over the world, there would be so many countries, they believe that the language originated from the divine power. This theory proposes that the language was a gift from a higher power. So they believe that, so like any other thing that human possesses, they believe this language also given, it's a gift given by the God. And the next one is the natural sound source, so the echoes of the world and everything. So the natural sound, so what are all the sounds that we hear naturally? The first one is that bow-wow theory. So in bow-wow theory, people believe that this language originated from, if we see any crow moving across, or if we see any birds that they are going, we'll, imitate the sounds that is making. So how do we say it is a crow? How do the children say they saw a crow? They'll say ka. So similarly, we see something in the natural and then we try to imitate it. So this bow-wow theory happened basically because of imitating certain things. So first one, in natural sound source, we have bow-wow theory. That is that we think that the language originating from imitating natural sound sources. Like if we hear water droplets, we'll hear this splash sound. If we hear this droplet tick splashes, and if we see any things that is particular that is there in the nature, we see the sounds it is making and we started imitating the sounds. So that is how this bow-wow theory originated. And the next one is this Pooh-Pooh theory. So in Pooh-Pooh theory, we basically try to imitate the emotion sounds that we make when we feel certain kind of pain or joy or surprise. If we are in pain, we'll say ouch or something, or if we are hurt or something, we'll make certain expressions or reactions. So bow-wow theory is completely dependent on the natural things that we are seeing and how we are imitating the nature sounds. Then Pooh-Pooh theory is that the emotions that we are feeling and the sound that we are making on that particular emotions, like pain, joy or surprise, what are the sounds that we are making when we are going through that particular emotions. And then this sing-song theory, we think that the language evolved from this rhythmic melodic expressions. This is sing-song theory. So these are all the natural sounds. First one is that bow-wow theory, and second one is Pooh-Pooh theory, and third one is sing-song theory. So this theory suggests that language began with onomatopoeia. As we all know what is onomatopoeia, the sounds, the rhythmic sounds and everything, and then imitating sounds is nature. So first thing is that first one, we believe that this language actually originated from God, so that is divine source. And the second one is this natural sound source. In this, we believe that we started imitating sounds, and that is how the sounds in languages has been evolved. And the next one is gesture theory. So as we all know, what is gesture? Is this some actions that we are doing? So first divine source, next natural sound source, and now comes this gesture theory. So in this, before words, there were certain actions that we started doing. First one is manual communication. So early humans must have used their hands to make certain signals. So instead of thinking that they can actually speak, they would have given certain expressions or given certain actions that indicates what they're actually trying to say. So first one is that manual communication. So early humans used their hand signals, and second was developed gestures. So gestures became more complex and symbolic. So instead of just giving it a generic expressions or generic hand movements, we started giving our actions or gestures for specific things. So we just moved from generic to specific thing, more complex and symbolic one. And third one is that vocalization. So oral language then developed from these gestures. So when we are saying gestures, we already started giving some oral language or oral words to that thing as well. So before spoken words, humans may have communicated primarily through gestures. So before spoken words, as we saw in manual communication, so humans must have started speaking through their gestures and everything. Instead of just speaking, they would have just communicated everything in their actions and such. The next one is this vocal tract evolution, a biological leap. So first one is physical adaptation, and then next one is brain development. So first one, human vocal in physical adaptation, we have human vocal cords and larynx descended over time. So if we take human anatomy and if we take some animals anatomy or something, we would see a distinct features of it. Like human would have their vocal tract and everything in order to speak, in order to say everything out, but at the same time animals will not have it. This is the physical adaptation. So we have this vocal tract, we have this vocal cord and everything. Because of that we can speak, but animals will not have the same thing. But you may ask, ma'am, parrots can speak, how do they can speak and everything, but this is the truth, that as a human we have this physical adaptation in our human body. In our anatomy, we have certain parts, certain body organs or certain features through which we can actually speak, through which we can actually communicate with one another. But animals at the same time, they cannot do so because of their anatomy, because of their features and everything. So in human, vocal cords and larynx descended over time, so enabled wider sound range, more articulate speak. Because of the physical adaptation of a human, we can actually speak. And the next one is brain development. Changes in the brain allowed for complex linguistic processing, Broca's area, Wernicke's area, etc. This theory focuses on physiological changes in human anatomy. The evolution of a vocal tract was crucial for producing complex sound leading to speech. So slowly, it's not like one certain night we thought that humans can actually speak and the next day did not speak. So it is through evolution we started speaking. They would have started making certain sounds, and then slowly it changed to some other words, then a single mono words, and then dual words and everything, and then slowly it developed. So it's an evaluation. It doesn't happen overnight. So it's an evaluation, how people started speaking languages. In the social interaction theory, as we saw the divine language, the natural sound source, and this physical adaptation and everything, and now we have the social interaction theory. So language as a tool. So how do we interact with other people? Only because of language it is possible that we can interact with some other. So first one is cooperation. Language developed to facilitate group tasks and hunting. As we all have this biblical references, this Babel's tower and everything. So language developed to facilitate our tasks, to make it easier for people. And the next one is bonding. It served to strengthen social ties in community. And then this third one is expression. Language enabled sharing thoughts and emotions. Because of language, because of communication, it is possible that we can share our emotions, pains, feelings and everything with one another. Language families and proto-languages, tracing the roots. So first one is that global diversity. So thousands of distinct languages exist today. We cannot say there are this many languages that are still extant today. We have so many languages. Even tribal will have different types of languages. And next one is the shared ancestry. Many languages belong to common families. So it started with Indo-Aryan languages, and it started with different families. Like how in certain species of, we see certain spawn of fishes, it will have different species, like different kinds. Similarly, for languages also, we have different families. Indo-Aryan languages, the Spanish roots, it has some Greek roots, it has some Latin roots. So we have different families and different variations in languages and in their shared ancestry as well. and is that proto-languages. So proto-languages, that's something, it is a format, or it's not format, but proto-languages means it is an example, or it is a prototypical languages for something. So hypothetical ancestors of current languages, it is something that this is where some of the languages started from. So proto is like a beginning of something. So hypothetical ancestors of current languages. So proto-languages means it was the basic, it was the origin of so many languages that is extinct today. And then is linguistic reconstruction. So scholars use clues to trace linguistic lineage, so where it actually started. Because of this borrowed words or something, we started tracing the lineages of a language. Then the conclusion is that the ongoing mystery of language origins. First one, it's complex process. So it is not easy that we can easily trace the origin of some languages. It is an ongoing debate that which language came first, or which was the oldest language, but the ancient one which had so many riches in that language. It is still an ongoing debate, so we're not going to talk about that now. So it is a complex process actually. So language evaluation was multifaceted. There is no single cause to say that this is what a language actually talks about, or this is where a language actually came from. So there is no particular origin. If we trace it back, we can trace it, but it is a complex process. Then interdisciplinary field, so it involves linguistics, anthropology and biology, and as we see, it is clearly evident that every language will have their own borrowed words from other languages. If you take one particular language, you cannot say this language exists on its own. You might have had certain words borrowed from other languages. Similarly, all other languages will have their own borrowed words or languages from different languages. So if you take English, it would have had borrowed different words from Greek, Spanish, Latin and everything. If you take Tamil, it would have borrowed from something else. If you take some other languages, it would have borrowed any other words from some languages. So it is an interdisciplinary field. It's not one particular language, it is not one particular origin. So it is a complex process. Then future discoveries. So now research continues to reveal more clues. So it is with the developing AI and everything, it is more easier to do this research now. Still it is a complex process, but it is easier to do this research now. So the origin of language remains a profound mystery. As of now, we did not see this is the origin. I just said we believe it is originated from divine. We believe it originated from the natural sound source. We believe it is in our physical adaptation. So we believe everything. That's it. It is not empirically fixed that this is where this language actually started. The origin of language remains a profound mystery. So it likely involved a complex interplay of factors, not a single cause. Research continues to unveil new insights into fundamental human trait. So I thank you all.